Welcome to Philippine-Canadian Inquirer's weekly news roundup brought to you by CanadianInquirer.net, your only Filipino-Canadian daily news portal. I'm Roneko, and here are stories making headlines this week. Duterte is sorry for harsh words used against Kuwait. President Rodrigo Duterte apologized to the Kuwaiti government for using harsh words in dealing with the newly resolved diplomatic tiff of the Philippines and Kuwait. The president, speaking before the Filipino community in Seoul over the weekend, said, quote, "For the first time, I would say that I was harsh in my language, maybe because that was a result of an emotional outburst. But I'd like to apologize now," unquote. As he expressed regret over his action, he even said he wants to visit Kuwait. Quote, "I think I'll go there. I'd like to thank them for understanding us, keeping their faith in us, practically giving all of my demands. I'll go there even for a few hours," unquote, Duterte said, adding how satisfied he was in the Gulf states' positive response in addressing the Philippines' problems. Duterte won't allow Philippine soldiers to be massacred while fighting for West Philippine Sea. Sending the Philippine forces to West Philippine Sea to counter China's aggressive militarization could mean a suicide, and they're not ready for such. President Rodrigo Duterte said this on Tuesday night upon his arrival from a 3-day official trip to South Korea. Quote, "If I do that, either I am inviting trouble within my country or the military and police will oust me. They are not prepared to go into suicide," unquote, he said, adding it is certain that they would rather dispense him rather than lose their soldiers unnecessarily and needlessly. Going into war with China for a simple adventurism will end up finishing off Filipino soldiers, Duterte said. Quote, "We cannot afford a war at this time because it will result in a massacre. I am not prepared to lose my soldiers and policemen for a simple adventurism," unquote, he said. Duterte also said that if the government forces die fighting over the West Philippine Sea, the country would have no one else to blame but him, and that Filipinos will execute him at Luneta. Supreme Court resolves to junk the Lima's request to reverse ruling on her arrest. The Supreme Court stood firm on its decision to jail Senator Leila de Lima by junking her petition to nullify her arrest over drug-related charges. The High Tribunal's notice of resolution dated April 17 but released only on Wednesday indicated that no further pleadings or motions will be entertained. The Supreme Court did not reverse its October 17 ruling, as the basic issues raised therein have been passed upon by this court and no substantial arguments were presented to warrant the reversal of the question decision. The detained senator filed a 24-page motion for reconsideration in November 2017, where she argued that the Supreme Court could not agree on the nature of the accusation reflected in the information. Such a fact is an objective indicator that a respondent judge could not possibly have had probable cause to issue the warrant of arrest against petitioner. In the motion, de Lima also said that the absence of a majority on the nature of the charges against petitioner is the clearest possible indicator, coming from the Supreme Court itself, that the accusation is blatantly a pure invention and a fake charge to borrow from Justice Carpio is an institutional admission of the gravest consequence. That wraps up our news here on PZI Weekly News Roundup. Thank you for joining us. For more news stories, visit our website at www.canadianinquirer.net.